Good evening and welcome back to the Angry Cast on Fallout Shelter 2022. How y'all doing? I apologize immensely. I missed out on putting up an episode this past week, and I really apologize for that. Work got in the way, and it's kind of ironic that I talk about that because we are going to be doing the Labor Day quests in the old vault. It's Labor Day weekend. It was Labor Day weekend, and I just things got away from me. Here's the work is what it is. But let me give you a clue of what's happening here. So as we go ahead and do these quests, and then we'll open up some lunchboxes as well. I do, of course, as you know, I do create shirt designs, as are linked in the description below, and are also on the end card for the Fallout Shelter inspired shirts that I do sell from the store. They do quite well. Thank you very much if you've ever bought one, or you know someone who's bought one, or you promoted them for me. I appreciate it immensely. The whole idea behind me doing that was so I don't have to do as much work. So I have a second job, kind of, and I have like a little bit of an income outside of my 9-to-5 job, and it's been great for 13 years I've been doing it. Unfortunately, though, sometimes I get asked to do things, as a custom job for someone, a specialty order, if you will. Now, we still handle the sale in the same way we do any other time. You put it, I would do the design, I would upload it to my sites, and I would give them the link and say, here you go. I've done that before. Last year, a friend of mine who is also an actor, he was in a production of Misery, the Stephen King novel Misery. He was in a production of that, and that relied him to, that it consisted of him laying on his back the entire time, basically, because he, got into a car accident in the mountains of Colorado, and Annie Wilkes, kept him captive while his legs healed. But he wanted to have for the cast these shirts made up for Annie Wilkes' bed and breakfast, which I was so happy to do. So I put those out for him, and they sold, and I still sell one every so often. It's not one of my bigger sellers, but it's those fans of the show and the book or the movie will purchase it once from time to time. So this year he says, "Hey, I'm doing another show called The Play That Goes Wrong," which is sort of a play within a play. If you've ever watched Noises Off, which is a play about a production of a play where everything goes wrong. And this is kind of like a knockoff, not really, but a kind of a newer version of it, where the production company itself is a sort of like a second-rate production company. They got a little bit of money, and they're going to put on this, play, I think, called The Mousetrap. And things go, one of the actors is unconscious, got hurt, is unconscious. Everything, the show opens with them working on the sets, like the stage crew out there trying to fix the sets or finish the sets, and things are falling apart, while they're doing it. And those stage crew workers are wearing a shirt with the production company called, it started in Britain, so they called it Cornley Polytechnic, I think, Society. And in the Americanized version of it, which we do all the time, if you ever watched Harry Potter, it was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, then it became Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, because we don't understand philosophy. I don't know what, it read better, it played better, who knows? Somebody in marketing thought, we're going to change this, and that's what happened. So, that aside, that rant aside, the show itself is called, the production company itself is called Cornley Drama Society. And so he asked me if I could make up these shirts so that the stage crew had a production shirt. I thought, before I knew what the show was about, he's supposed to have shirts. Okay, that's fine. He's like, no. There's a specific thing we got to do here. It's the Cornley Drama Society, and it's got to be on the back because I got to have time when when we place the order to do the front, to do cry cuts to put their names on the front. I'm like, oh, and then I went and read up on the show, and I understood more. Oh, I get it. It's their stage. These are actual costumes. So I said, well, okay, I'm going to do that, and of course I'm going to sell it normally. So I will do a version of it with the shirt with the name on the back, so that people can do the front and have their put their names on it for if anybody's ever doing the show. It has happened. I get these weird bulk orders sometimes from people, and I don't know if they're ordering it for like a shop of their own, or they have but every so often I get like a bulk order of shirts from one design or another, and I have to often think that somebody's doing a show, or there's something else that's going on that's causing them to want to have like 15 of the same style shirt. So, but I mean, I'm neither here nor there. Do I care? Just go ahead and please order the shirt. That's fine. So I'm doing this custom job, and I tried to be as simple as possible, but at the same time, I also like to flex the creative muscles that I have and try to do something out of the ordinary so that I can sort of become a better designer and do a little bit more work and have a little bit more tricks. And a lot of times I will take what I use and I will put it into my little toolbox, and then every so often I will pull out a shirt design and rejigger or rework something that I did previously and make it into a new shirt, or use elements from it to make it into a new shirt, or use the techniques from it and make it into a new shirt. So that's not out of the ordinary, and I think a lot of people do that. It's not just something I do, I hope. So anyways, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, let's do this. Now I had wanted to do something along the lines of drama masks, and drama masks are kind of like cliched. Anybody who's ever been in one of those drama nerds like we all were, in their freshman year of college, and they've got those posters up on the wall, and they've got the the Phantom of the Opera poster, and they got the Wicked poster, and they got the drama masks and all that other stuff. Yeah, it's like by the end of sophomore year, they've got the all the drink recipes and Jimi Hendrix and the Blues Brothers and the Einstein, it's all different. It's all changed. They've changed their entire lifestyle in that 1 year, because college does that to you. But I wanted to do something with drama masks because I thought, okay, cool. It's a drama society. I need kind of a logo. It's kind of be like a logo, a brand. So there's going to have to be some incorporation of theater elements to it. Can't just be the names. And I think he was kind of looking for me to do something simple like that, just put the names on the back of it. And I said, well, I thought there was the logo that he wanted me to use. I thought there was something because again, this was before I read up on the show, and I didn't fully understand what he wanted. I started looking into it from saying, okay, just pass me the thing, I'll touch it up, and we'll get it slap it on a shirt. I wasn't looking to spend a lot of time on it. But in true, my life fashion, he's like, oh no, I could look it up, I could do some Googling, but I don't know that there's any kind of a design. Here's something that people have been using. Here's other shirts. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I don't want to do that because I saw a lot of them on the stores that I carry, like Redbubble and TeePublic. I saw these Cornley Polytechnic and Cornley Drama Society stuff, and I didn't want to duplicate those efforts. I don't want to steal other design, especially for something like this. Because they say, well, dude, here's the link. Just go do it. He obviously wanted me to do something. He obviously wanted to patronize me. And I don't mean patronize in the bad way. I mean patronize me as buying stuff from me, utilizing me, commissioning me to do that. So I guess that I should come up with something original. And so I found and 90% of what I do is Googling. Sadly, I should say. I find something I like. I find something that inspires me to do something with it. And then I go and I create, or I use that idea or that image to make something different. I found there's a shirt that I have in the stores called This Is Fine, which is just basically a Dungeons & Dragons parody. And it's got a 20-sided die sitting on the number 1 with all manner of weaponry sticking out of it, and fire and everything else. It's like just arrows and axes, and I found all of the weapons I wanted, how I wanted them to look, and then I drew them on a piece of paper around the die, and then scanned it, and then went back and worked on it. So there was a lot of work done that way. and that took a lot of time. That was back in the old day of my original laptop, and it actually pretty much killed my original laptop. I could not do the work I would normally do on a design. There was so many elements to that. Each layer had to be its own file. The die, the 20-sided die itself, the flames, the arrows, the axe, the sword, everything was its own little file that I then took and made it into a transparency, and then copied it into the thing, and then worked from there. That's how, seriously, it took me a good week and a half to do that design. But this one, I was like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. I have to get some videos out. We're still in the process of moving. I have to work. This is just got to be something that is going to be done, just like that. And I snapped my fingers. I don't know if you can hear that. So I started working on it. Like, okay, I found the masks I like. So I started working on them. Get the masks all done up. And then I'm like, okay, I want to have a ribbon, some kind of like an old stylized ribbon that drapes across the masks and goes behind a little bit and over top, and and that's going to be where the Cornley Drama Society words are put on there. And I had it all done, and it's all going to be in one color. And because I figure it's going to end up being white, because these are stage crew shirts and they're supposed to be wearing all black, but this white on the back, it's just going to be it doesn't really matter. You're supposed to call out the fact. Normally, the other side right here, normally when you do theater and you have stage crew, they wear all black, or they wear a costume that incorporates them into the show. In this case, it's kind of half of one, half of the other. They're wearing all black, but they're wearing a shirt that incorporates the name of the company, so it's a costume, so it incorporates them into the show. They're actors. They're not the actual stage crew, but most stage crews are pretty much actors as well, so it kind of works, well. In any case, they are going to be wearing a half costume, half stage crew outfit. So I was like, okay, fine, I can do it all in one color, all white, get it on the back, be done. Fine. Those are easy. When I don't have to mess with color, it makes things easier. I started working on this design, and I looked at it, and I'm like, I like where this is going. And I had it all done up. I had the masks where I wanted them, and then I had the ribbon over top of it, and it was perfect. And I showed it to him. He's like, I like it. It's actually more in depth than I thought it was going to be. It was probably too good, considering he wants it to be like a second-rate company that doesn't have a lot of money. I said, well, that doesn't mean you should skimp on art. And besides, I'm going to sell this thing on my own anyway, so I want to have it look good as well. He's like, let me make one change, and this is where designers kind of like, they lose their soul a little bit. And the whole point is to be able to capture what the client wants. The whole point is to be able to have them give you the requirements, you create the design and give it to them, and then be like, okay. Now there could be some tweaks, in and out, but it's like anytime I hear somebody wants to make some changes, I start to get a little bit twitchy, because it's like, okay, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that does the same stupid designs that everybody else does just because people think it's trendy. They saw it on, Hot Topic, or they saw it on Pinterest. Like, there is a style of design that happened about 10 years ago where it was just words on a shirt, and it was always with the ampersand. And it was like, Harry and Ron and Hermione and, and Neville and Luna. And it was just like, and it's just that whole thing. It's just all the names and just in a straight line down the shirt. Now it seems like there's this trend where people are making these, it's not like a flag, but they're stripes, horizontal stripes that are different colors, not even like close to a rainbow, like just two or three colors, and they just are in the background of every damn design. It's like that's your background, that circle of that, of those stripes, and then something in the foreground, and then words, and that's it. And I'm like, I hate that. It's so stupid. But it seems to have so much landscape or so much real estate on Google search results when you do this, when you search for something, that's where that design comes up, that style comes up, and I hate that. So I don't like to be trendy like that. I don't like I like to be a little bit different because everybody else does these things, and I want to have my own spin on it. So when somebody says I want to make some changes, I get a little bit twitchy about it. But he said, I just want to make one change. I said, what? I said, what if you reversed the color scheme on the ribbons? Now, and I'll show you a picture at the end of the video. The entire thing is white. The theater masks with the ribbons going around, and then the lettering for Cornley Drama Society is like punched out of the ribbon. It's like a hole. It's black, basically. And he wants to say, let's do the ribbon in like black with white lettering against the white masks. And I said, I can do that. Because the way I work, I do everything as a separate layer on a design, so I can go back and move them. And sometimes when I have to merge two, like I work, like one has the ribbon and one has the wording, I will keep them on separate layers, and then I will push them together when I'm ready to go on to the next step. And a lot of times I will just duplicate those two layers that I'm going to merge and merge them and keep the original layers separate. So I end up having like 12 or 13 layers on this design. Some are not even seen, but when I save my final, draft of it, it's all the layers, only the ones exposed are the ones I want to keep. So that if I ever want to go back and fix something, if I notice some mistake later on, I have all the original work, I can go do it. That's a little bit how anal retentive I am on these types of things. And I get even more anal retentive later on, as we are 16 or 17 minutes already into this video. So I present it to him with the masks in white and the wording in white with a ribbon that's like kind of like a negative in background in black. And he's like, damn, that pops. I'm like, okay, there we go. I got it. I got him on the hook. Let's do this. And then I looked, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to New York. I'll be back, and we're going to take care of it. I said, okay, I happened to notice when in our conversation, I looked at it, I'm like, I have some touching up I need to do. And when I say I have some touching up I need to do, I mean that there is some rough edges to the design that need to be smoothed out. I tend to move and manipulate and move things around, and once I get it on, and I don't know about Photoshop or any other tool, but with Paint.net, it gets a little fuzzy. And I had to like remove a color because I had initially done it and I screwed it up a little bit. And I have this strip primary color tool in Paint.net that I use to, like, say if I have black and white, I remove all the white. But then it leaves like jagged edges in what they're called aliased or anti-alias, and you have to smooth them out. And I have a tool that also does anti-aliasing, but it's not perfect, and sometimes it leaves a little bit of a shadow or a remnant of something else, or it outlines a little bit. So what I end up doing is I go and I go around the edges of the design, and I smooth them out either with a brush or a line tool to sort of rim them around the edges to get them all smoothed out. Well, this design itself, the mask, was all of the cracks and all of the texture and definition of the mask was an absence of color. It was a line in the darkness. It was black, or if you were looking at it on a black shirt, it was where there was black showing through. And it was around the nose and around the cheeks, and it kind of like it was almost like a really like cool pencil drawing that was, converted into something else. So I had a lot of extra work to do, and I started looking at this thing, I'm like, oh God, what have I got myself into? I've got to touch this bitch up, and I got to get it done before the end of the week because he wants to place the order when he gets back from New York on Monday. Now, usually the last half of the week I work from home, and that gives me, I take all the time I would be commuting and I put it into working on videos. So I get an hour drive to from work. That means I get 2 hours a day on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that I could be recording and putting together videos. So unfortunately, because this design has so many different edges to it because of those lines I was talking about, I had to go through and I had to smooth out every single piece of that image, and that was just the masks. The ribbons were pretty much where I wanted them, but I did work on them as well. And I also had to clean up the initial thing was reverse the ribbon and the lettering, and then take out a lot of the shadow or the detail on the ribbons, because there were so many lines, crinkles and edges and shadows and all that, and he wanted to have because it was kind of intrusive on the actual design. So I took all that out. That took me 3 days. I spent Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, those hours that I had, on removing all of the rough edges and touching up everything, and then I got it done. Now that put me into the weekend, 3-day weekend. I missed my deadline for posting the video on Fallout Shelter on Friday, and I was like, okay, well, I'll go. I went in and looked. I'm like, oh, the Labor Day quests are here. I guess I'm gonna have to just do this and record the episode and then put the voiceover in later, which I'm doing now. And then I looked again, and the damn design wasn't even centered. And then I looked, and the wording was fuzzy, because I do wording. I use Microsoft Word. I actually use Microsoft Word 2007, oddly enough. I have an old copy of it. And I use Word Art. And I just do Word Art, and I do the shapes, and then I manipulate it from there. And it was because I had to sort of tweak them and turn them a little bit, because the ribbons were not straight across. They were on an angle. It made the letters fuzzy, so I had to go back and touch them up as well. So I spent yesterday, Monday, Labor Day, finishing up this design so that I could get it all up, and I did not even get a chance to record any of this weekend, because then I spent the rest of the weekend, my Labor Day weekend, a time of rest, over at the other house trying to clean it up so we can get it on the market. And this was not a very restful Labor Day. And so I told you that entire story to promote the idea that we're doing the Labor Day quests and everything else. So hopefully by now we have finished up the video and we have opened up our lunch boxes. I'm now about 22 minutes into this bitch, and I'm going to hopefully be able to keep a lot of the quests in myself, just because I think it's 5 quests for the Labor Day multi-layer or multi-whatever quests, and we should be done. So I think that's going to be a wrap on this one. Hey, like I said, I apologize for missing last week. It's just getting to be kind of hard for me to keep doing stuff. I'm still in that limbo of living in I'm living in one house. I'm still working out of another to get stuff done, and I'm still trying to find my way and get my routine set up. So I apologize, and hopefully this won't happen again. But if it does, know that I would let you know when there's not going to be any more Fallout Shelter. Just to give you that idea. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Take a look at the link. I'll put a link to the shirt in the description below, and you can see how it looks on stickers and all that other stuff. And hey, if you really like it, you might want to buy one. Go ahead and click on the end card and go get yourself one. And we'll talk to you next time. Have a good one. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.